Chapter 5. Processes without guilt. For many people in the church, the word process feels uncomfortable. Cold, corporate, unspiritual. You can almost feel the tension when it comes up. We don't want to be rigid. We want to stay spirit-led. We don't want to turn ministry into a machine. If you've felt that resistance, externally or internally, this chapter is for you. Because avoiding process doesn't make a church more spiritual. It usually just makes it more exhausting. Let's name the real issue. Churches don't hate process. They hate bad process. Process that adds friction, creates bureaucracy, serves the system instead of the people. That kind of process deserves resistance. But the absence of process creates its own damage, often quietly. Here's a simple truth every executive pastor must embrace. Every church already has processes. The question is whether they're intentional or accidental. If you don't define how things work, whatever happens repeatedly becomes the system. And accidental systems usually favor the loudest voice, burn out the most faithful people, create inconsistency and frustration. Intentional systems do the opposite. Process is not about control. Process is about clarity. Clarity for staff who want to do a good job, volunteers who want to help, families who want a consistent experience. When people know what's expected, they can relax and serve with confidence. That's pastoral care. Let me reframe process in a way that changes everything. Process is simply the agreed upon way we do something. That's it. Not rules for rules' sake. Not rigidity. Not lack of faith. Agreement. And agreement builds trust. As an executive pastor, your role is not to systematize everything. Your role is to identify what matters most and make that repeatable. So where should you start? Focus on what touches people most frequently. Here are 5 areas every church should systemize early. 1. Weekend services. If the weekend is chaotic, everything else feels unstable. This doesn't mean scripting the spirit. It means clear roles, clear timelines, clear ownership. When everyone knows their lane, excellence becomes normal, not stressful. 2. Volunteer onboarding. Nothing burns people out faster than unclear expectations. Every volunteer should know what's expected, who they report to, how they're trained, how they're supported. Process communicates value. 3. Follow-up and care. If people raise their hand, ask for prayer, or need help, there should be a clear path. Not, someone should probably reach out. Clear ownership, clear timing, clear next steps. That's not administration. That's shepherding. 4. Decision-making. When people don't know how decisions are made, they stop trying to make good ones. Process answers. Who decides? Who gives input? How fast should this move? Clarity here increases speed and reduces anxiety. 5. Communication flow. Most frustration in churches comes from miscommunication, not malice. Define what gets communicated, when, to whom, by whom. You'll eliminate countless unnecessary conversations. Now let's address the fear that sits underneath resistance to process. The fear is this: what if process limits God? But here's the reality. God works through order constantly. Creation itself has rhythm. Scripture has structure. The early church organized intentionally as it grew. Structure didn't limit the spirit. It allowed growth to continue. Here's another important distinction. Process should serve people, not protect systems. If a process no longer serves the mission, you change it. That flexibility is part of healthy operations. Strong systems are not static. They're responsive. As an executive pastor, you don't enforce process with force. You introduce it with language like, "This is to make things easier. This will help us care for people better. This removes unnecessary stress." Because that's the truth. One more critical mindset shift. If something happens more than twice, it deserves a process. Not a manual, not a binder, just clarity. Write it down, agree on it, improve it over time. When process is done well, volunteers feel supported, staff feel confident, leaders feel freed. When it's absent, everything feels urgent. People rely on heroics. Burnout becomes normal. And burnout is not a badge of honor. It's a warning sign. So if you've ever felt guilty for wanting things to work better, release that guilt. You are not being rigid. You are being responsible. You are not quenching the spirit. You are removing obstacles. In the next chapter, we'll talk about people, roles, structure, and accountability, and how clarity actually strengthens relationships instead of harming them. Because the goal of process is never efficiency alone. The goal is health, and health multiplies ministry. Let's continue.